Well, the Democrats were right again, and the economy sucks. The jobs numbers just came in for August, and they were at 22,000. 22,000. And just a reminder, in July, they were at 70,000. And Trump was so upset that he fired the person giving the numbers to him and brought in a new person. And then the numbers dropped from 70,000 to 20,000. What happened, Trump supporters? Were you guys not praying hard enough for higher numbers? What happened? Perhaps it's a Democrat hoax. Have we thought of this? Maybe it's all a big hoax made up by Democrats, these numbers. Perhaps if we just keep firing people, these jobs numbers will magically increase. This is the logic of a low IQ Trump supporter. If we just fire everybody, we're going to pump up these job numbers, huh? So the economy sucks, prices are up everywhere, and now that the jobs numbers are completely abysmal, I'm guessing that Jerome Powell will cut interest rates, and then prices will go up even more because inflation will jack up. But don't worry, everyone. Trump is busy renaming things, like the Defense Department, changing it to the War Department. Cool. Very, very 5 years old of you. Oh, and sending in the National Guard into cities, even though they're not allowed to arrest anyone. So they really just stand around and pick up trash, and we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars doing that. Good job.
I don't think people realize how quickly Trump is tanking the economy. When Trump took office, he inherited the strongest economy for an incoming president since George W. Bush. Job growth was booming, wages were up, inflation was down, and the stock market was climbing. Fast forward to today, and Trump's tariffs and his economic agenda have thrown everything in reverse. The new jobs report is brutal. The economy added just 22,000 jobs in August, about 50,000 jobs short of expectations. But the revisions for June and July were even worse. For the first time in 4 years, since the last time Trump was president, the economy actually lost jobs. And it's hitting some of our most important industries the hardest. Over the last 3 months, we've lost 31,000 manufacturing jobs, 13,000 mining jobs, and about 10,000 construction jobs. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is raiding factories and stripping legal status from 1 million immigrants, which in their absurd theory was supposed to help the most vulnerable American workers. But black unemployment is now at 7.5%, the highest in 4 years, and youth unemployment for 16 to 24-year-olds is at 10.5%. And it's not just jobs. In July, we also saw one of the biggest monthly spikes in inflation, which is now at its fastest pace in 5 months. And families are feeling it, with back-to-school supplies up 7.3% this year. And to put the cherry on top, after Trump inherited 12 straight quarters of economic growth, our economy actually shrank in the first quarter of this year, and has remained slow as consumers brace for even higher prices. A lot of Americans held their noses and voted for Trump, thinking that he'd fix the economy. But like everything else with him, his thirst for power and control has led to utter chaos. And unless we call it out now, he'll continue to lie and drive our economy off the cliff. So share this video and follow me to stay in the loop.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. Thank you so much for tuning in into this video, and this video is a compilation showing the reality of Trump's economic disaster and how it has crushed America and left MAGA broke. You'll see real stories of people talking about unemployment, struggling, farmers and families finding it harder to survive. All video credits belongs to the original creators of the clips. Let's continue watching the remaining clips that I have put together for you, and let's dive in.
So while Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans keep getting out in front of cameras and screaming, we're winning, Donald Trump is winning, once again it is all just complete gaslighting. We all saw the recent job reports that came out that they had only created 22,000 jobs in August, along with the barely 100,000 that Trump scraped up over a 3-month period before that. As I pointed out before, during his tenure, Joe Biden was creating hundreds of thousands of jobs every month. And the MAGA is so pissed about this. So much that they're trying to pretend that they are doing great when they are fucking sinking. As a matter of fact, even BlackRock is suffering because they just lost $17 billion when the Dutch pension fund pulled their investment, because BlackRock was ditching climate change initiatives in favor of Trump's agenda. And while Trump was really hoping to use a good jobs report to distract away from Epstein, he's completely falling for the fact that the more he mentions Epstein, the more people are interested. In fact, the second that bad jobs report came out, he didn't do what he normally does and lash out that it's fake news. It took him a while to do that. He immediately started claiming that the Jeffrey Epstein thing was a hoax, because anytime his crimes come up in the press or anytime he's exposed for something, it's a hoax. Yet he is still 5 years later pushing his 2020 election denial with absolutely no evidence. So much so that now he claims that mail-in ballots are entirely fraudulent because Vladimir Putin told him so, even though Trump repeatedly votes by mail. And like I said before, 2 of the states that solely vote by mail, Nevada and Utah, he supposedly won in 2024. So is he saying that was fraudulent? Trump and his people thought that the second they fired that one person from the BLS, that all of a sudden the stats were going to be in their favor. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics employs thousands of people, and they've been around for over 150 years. And they do in-depth analysis on these job numbers. So Trump can't fuck with that. And well after he fired that one BLS commissioner who he claimed was creating fake numbers on purpose, his numbers only look worse now. And as usual, this is Trump's MO. He likes to claim that everything is a hoax, or that everything is rigged, or blah blah blah, entirely without evidence, and he just hopes everybody will believe him. But it's going to get much worse, even for the MAGA themselves, because healthcare premiums are expected to spike, and millions of people are going to get kicked off of their health insurance thanks to Trump's big beautiful bill. And once again, his bullshit crybaby tactics do not match the facts. In fact, Rolling Stone put it best. The jobs data the Trump administration used to signal a scandal was neither historic nor evidence of corruption. Because you would need some kind of evidence to back up your bullshit claim, and Trump has nothing but feelings and lies. And while we had the best economy in the G7 under Joe Biden, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs a month, Trump once again got in power, and he's immediately flushing everything down the toilet. And he has nobody to blame anymore, because he fires people and his numbers only get worse. And he can't blame Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's job growth numbers and GDP were infinitely better than Trump's in either of his terms. Let's see if these dumb assholes in their red hats and their stupid flag shirts that say "We the People" will finally get the picture once they all lose their
60% of the American
goddamn
public
jobs.
is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself. 60% of the American public is about to lose.
This is Donald Trump's America. Everyone needs to see this video. A mother of 2 is begging for help as she cannot afford to feed her children and pay her mortgage off anymore. It's truly heartbreaking and shows the reality that millions of Americans are living in right now. As soon as the money hits their account, it's instantly gone.
We are a family of 4. We have 2 kids. How are y'all surviving? Because I'm not. I got paid today, and it's gone. Goes toward the mortgage, cell phone bill, gas and electric, garbage. Everything gone.
The worst part is she works 40 hours a week, her husband works 50 hours a week, and they still can't even afford basic necessities. She says each month they have to decide between a grocery trip or paying the mortgage because they can't do both. Here's a powerful quote from her saying, "The people that don't have kids are barely surviving. I am not surviving. Your money is gone. There's nothing you can do. You just have to ride on this floating rock and spend." This right here is a very important part of what she said. Unless you're a rich elite, you're effed, and she's absolutely right. She then goes on to say that everybody needs to unite because it's very important we all speak out against this corruption. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's only going to get worse under Donald Trump's leadership. Everything that he does is focused around helping the elites and hurting the rest of us. That is his entire playbook. Here's a very simple analogy. Donald Trump is a billionaire, an elitist. Imagine he's on the red team. And imagine the blue team is the rest of America, the 99%, the working class. Why would anybody that's on the red team help the blue team out in any capacity? Obviously, he's going to help out himself and his team at the expense of us.
America's economy is losing over and over because of Trump's shambolic trade war. I mean, it was really stupid to say to the #1 country that buys the very few things that we make, "Fuck you." Well, now they're saying, "No, fuck you." We used to sell $13 billion in soybeans to China. They said, "You know what? Fuck that. We'll get them from Brazil." We don't sell that many things to other countries. We can't have a $13 billion sale just canceled. We also make beef and poultry. We used to sell tons of that to China. Now they're getting it from Australia. That's another one of the very few products we make and sell overseas gone. That's billions of dollars out of the American economy. We used to sell liquefied petroleum gas to China. Now they're going to get that from the Middle East instead of us. I'm not saying this is going to happen. They've already canceled their orders and started getting their things from these other places. So American producers had consumers in China, and those were lost because of Trump. This is billions of dollars that is lost to thousands of American producers. And these contracts are not just magically going to come back after this trade war ends. You have damaged the American economy for the long term. Good job, guys!
American manufacturing has now shrunk for the 6th straight month, a troubling sign that Trump's tariffs are taking a heavier toll than many anticipated. Factories are slowing production as trade barriers choke supply chains and raise input costs. Economists warn that this prolonged downturn isn't just a blip, it points to deeper structural problems created by Trump's protectionist policies. Tariffs, billed as a way to protect American jobs, have instead driven up costs for manufacturers, forcing some to cut workers and others to delay investment. The ripple effect spreads beyond just factory floors, hitting freight, shipping, and consumer prices. Historically, manufacturing has served as a bellwether for broader economic health, and 6 straight months of decline suggest worse times. Unless trade tensions ease, the restrictionist policies meant to strengthen American industry are the very ones holding back.
All right, once again, Kamala Harris was right when she warned us that Donald Trump's economic policies would destroy the economy. Take a look at this clip. During the debate, she said, quote, 16 Nobel economists are saying that Trump's plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Trump and Republicans laughed it off. They said Kamala Harris was wrong. She was being hyperbolic. She was being exaggeratory. She was exactly right. His plans have increased inflation. For a guy who said he was running to lower costs for families, inflation is up 7 months into his tenure. We could be in a recession by the middle of this year, let alone by the end of next year. And in terms of what Kamala Harris was saying, that President Trump's plan to tax the middle class and invest in the rich, as opposed to taxing the rich to invest in the middle class, was going to destroy the economy. His big, beautiful budget bill, his tariffs, his economic policy has been a train wreck. So Kamala Harris, who I thought was so unfairly maligned as the candidate, she was right then, she was right now. Take a look. Kamala Harris is due her respect, and the nation owes her an apology.
What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
A recession happens every time a Republican enters office, and it's now reported that there's more unemployed people than there are job openings in America. And the unemployment rate for adolescents aged 16 to 24 has reached 10.5%. If you're struggling to find a job, I promise you're not the problem. Deadass, I had a recent job interview with Entergy, right? They're this electric utility company that operates throughout the South. I make it all the way to the final round of interviews. And then the interviewer at the end says, hey, we'll let you know within a week whether or not you got the job. Cool. Fast forward 2 weeks go by, I don't hear a word from them. So I just send a nice follow-up email, pretty much just asking for an update. Y'all, they tell me, actually, our entire interview panel loved you. You were our first choice candidate. However, in light of recent economic policy and a change in management, our department is going on a spending freeze, meaning no new hires. Y'all, and fortunately, I had other job offers, but I was still pissed because it's they were my number one.
Well, pretty much all 50 states are starting to see job cuts and slow down in the economy and money spent because of Donald Trump's cuts. They also are starting to see prices rise in their states. Why? Because Donald Trump made these massive budget cuts, signed the big, beautiful bill, and the tariffs. Doesn't matter if it's a blue state or red state. Every state is starting to hurt. They're paying more and they're losing jobs. They're losing people and they're losing money. Why? Because Donald Trump signed all these executive orders and the economy is in a recession. What do you think was going to happen? Donald Trump told you exactly what he was going to do. And now red states, blue states, purple states are saying, hold on, we can't have this. We're losing jobs. Our economy's going down. We're not getting federal funding. We're not getting any help. They're realizing Donald Trump isn't for them. And all these federal budget cuts, all these tariffs are ruining these states, costing them millions and some billions of dollars, and they can't handle what Donald Trump is doing.
It's not just a jobs report that came out today that's showing we are at a critical mass, that we are on our way to an economy that may be the worst in history, that plummets so drastically in such a short amount of time that no president has been able to accomplish this anywhere on the planet. It's all the billionaires and all the business leaders who are all saying, we are in a recession. It's all of the stockbrokers, all the Wall Street types that are hearing Fox News say that the stocks are doing record-breaking highs. They're looking at the numbers underneath the numbers, and they know this is really, really bad. So what does the Trump administration do to distract their base? Well, let's have Donald Trump sign an executive order renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Why? Because the Trump base is salivating to take down woke. They're like a bunch of hungry dogs that'll eat anything up if it means taking down woke. They won't look or see anything else but that. And it works. Let me tell you, listen to this. An estimated cost for renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War is expected to be in the billions of dollars. To change the name of just 9 military bases, which we did in the past, was $39 billion. This massive expense is due to the logistical and administrative overhaul required to change the names of hundreds of agencies, update official documents, replace emblems and signage across various military installations and equipment, and rebrand countless other materials and systems. Tens of billions of dollars to do this. At this point, we can't just blame this regime. We can't just blame an orange turd who never ran a business that didn't go bankrupt. In history, we're going to look back at all the Trump voters who put them in office. So if your shifts are being cut, if jobs are being cut, if your company is shutting down, blame a Trump voter. If you're getting kicked off of Medicaid, if your insurance company is dropping all the Medicare plans because the price of prescriptions have gone up because of this administration, blame a Trump voter. If your school is hemorrhaging, no money to properly educate your kids, departments are being closed, and you name it, blame a Trump voter. The list goes on and on. That's how I feel.
The thing is, Trump promised greatness, but instead his trade wars, tariffs, and reckless spending has crashed the economy. Farmers are losing their farms, companies are laying off workers, and even the immigrants who have come to help the local economies are being pushed out by the eyes. The truth is simple. The economy he inherited was so strong, but under his leadership, it's collapsing. Inflation is rising, unemployment is up, and America is falling behind. And this is why so many people, even the one who supported Trump, are now saying that it's FAFO season. The promises of MAGA have left them broke, betrayed, and disappointed.
When you fire people, of course unemployment rises. When you make people scared to work here by sending your goons to job sites, of course unemployment rises. When you deport massive amounts of people, of course unemployment rises. And when you put tariffs on the economy that just raise prices on everybody, of course unemployment rises. Like, this is what everyone said before even Trump got into office, not because they hate Trump, but because it's obvious. When you hurt the economy gets hurt. But Trump's unwilling to accept this fact. And when he saw that, we had fewer jobs than we thought we would have, well, he wasn't willing to accept that fact. He'd rather have alternative facts. So he fired the head of the BLS. This is bad. This isn't normal, nothing that really matters, but we can't have a president who looks at the consequences of his actions, and rather than admitting they were bad and that he should change course, will just fire the person in charge of telling him the truth. Trump has bad economic policy.
Buzzy B. Teacher here, political satirist. And I have to talk about two very uncomfortable subjects. But I hope you stick and listen, because it affects all of us, not just me. Trump is now destroying our economy. That's the name of the game. You know, some time ago, we looked at this orange, and I told you it was beginning to rot. Well, it's gotten a lot worse. And just like this orange, Trump's policies are rotting our country. It's the tariff, postal service. Oh my God, it's not delivering anything from Europe because it's all sitting in the post offices waiting to have the tariff paid. You know, if we were one big family and Trump was the person on the top paying the bills, we would very quickly take away his ability to do so.
Last time the idiot Trump was there, he totally wrecked the farming industry. Soybeans, other crops. China was buying that stuff from us, but his tariffs war just crushed farmers. So what ended up happening, American taxpayers footed a $25 billion bailout of these farmers. You had dairy farmers in Wisconsin, farmers in Iowa, in Illinois, who were losing their family farms. And you know what? Some of the people are so stupid. I remember reading this one story. This one guy said, yeah, he lost a family farm, but you know what? He would vote for Trump again. I'm like, y'all have got to be stuck on stupid. So guess what? Red states. Arkansas, oh my God, these farmers are crying. Nebraska, the governor called Trump, said, please stop your ICE raids because we're losing GDP in Nebraska. You've got folks in distilleries, whiskey distilleries in Kentucky filing for bankruptcy. Why? Well, because after Trump pissed off the Canadians, they stopped buying American whiskey. So you got $500 million worth of whiskey sitting in warehouses. So this thing is happening all around the country. But over the weekend, y'all, I got a huge kick out of listening to these crying and whining Arkansas farmers. These are the people that voted for Trump in a huge way. Now they're like, oh my God, we need help or we're going to lose everything. Y'all got the video? Roll it.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love. 5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Donald Trump is destroying the American economy. New data is showing that for the first time since 2021, there are more people unemployed and looking for jobs than there are job openings. These numbers expose the truth that Donald Trump's policies are crippling the middle class, and that's why he wants to fire all of the people responsible for releasing these numbers and replace them with loyalists who will release fake ones. Check this out.
But this JOLTS report essentially revealed that there are fewer jobs available than those that are looking for those jobs. So in the month of July, it reveals that there are 7.18 million jobs open, and there are 7.2 million people who are unemployed looking for jobs.
Additionally, a new jobs report just came out for August saying that the U.S. only added 5,400 jobs, making another month of below expectation job growth. All of this is, of course, directly tied to Donald Trump's tariffs. This is why Trump is fighting so hard to fire all of the numbers people in our government, because numbers don't lie. They are exposed exposing the truth about his failed economy and policies, and he can't hide from it. Wages are stagnant, nobody can get a job, and the numbers keep falling short of expectations. Trump promised to bring back manufacturing and protect American workers, but his tariffs have done the exact opposite. In fact, here's a look at the manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump. As you can tell, yeah, the tariffs aren't really working. But Trump cares more about his own ego or being right than he does helping the American people, because he would rather hide from the truth than fix his mistakes.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Honestly, I don't want to see a single American farm, single American business, anything go under. I don't want to see any of them struggle. I don't want to see any of them give up. Especially now with this constant push that everything needs to be American, American industry, American farming, American made. I don't want to see them give up. But I do have a problem reconciling that with the fact that they were warned. They were warned by top economists that this would happen. They were warned that the policies that would be set in place would harm them. They just didn't listen. And I'm not just talking about farmers. I'm talking about people who own small businesses that didn't take into account what tariffs actually mean. And now that the de minimis exception also no longer exists, it's going to hurt small businesses even more. It's going to hurt everyone even more. I don't want to see generational farms and small businesses struggle. I really don't. As much as that FAFO trend is trending, I really don't want to see people struggling. And that's the reason I voted the way I voted. And there are people who did vote the same way as me that are struggling. And I hate the fact that they were thrown under the bus by their contemporaries, especially in the farming industry. A good bulk of farmers voted for what is happening, though they didn't realize, they didn't connect the dots. They didn't listen to top economists. They didn't listen to statistics and data. I don't want to see any of this, but I'm angry. I'm so angry.
I spent most of this winter in South America. I just got back in the other night, and I want to relay this message to all our friends and government officials and people we work with all over the world. I want to tell you the same thing I told the South Americans the other night. Please do not come to the United States. We are not the same country we were 4 months ago. It is not safe here anymore. They can pull you off the street. They can detain you. They'll do God knows what to you. They're doing it to our own citizens. They will do it to you. Please do not support American products. Don't buy American. Don't vacation here. I'm very sorry to say this, and I want to apologize on behalf of all rational Americans in this country who are fighting Trump tooth and nail with everything we have. We're sorry. We're doing the best we can to get rid of this guy. And all his crooked cronies, but we're having a very difficult time doing it. We handed him the keys. An ignorant populace handed him the keys to this kingdom, and we're finding it very difficult to even slow him down, frankly. I think America's done. I hate to say that, but I don't know how
This ice raid at the Hyundai plant is problematic for a lot of reasons. Let's talk about it. This is going to have disastrous effects on the surrounding area to this super plant, the state of Georgia, the country. That's just economically. When it comes to the world stage, South Korea was an ally. So let's back up a little bit. South Korea has a super plant in Georgia. It is the largest foreign investment in the state of Georgia's history. And Georgia has a lot of money in it. So this was an investment by South Korea, and they had 475 nationals working on this plant. ICE did say that they detained 475 illegals. We do know a majority of them were working on valid visas. So let's talk about how that's going to affect the economy, not just in Georgia. I don't talk a lot about my career. I am a nonprofit professional. I do go into a lot of plants. I go into a lot of plants, warehouse centers, factories, distributions, and I love that part of the job. I love seeing plants and how they operate. I always ask for a tour because it's just amazing. So I go into a lot of rural areas. Did you know in Deckard, Tennessee, did you even know that was a city? There is a Nissan plant there. There is a Nissan plant. So this is happening in small rural communities around the country where we have foreign investments in those communities on a larger scale. I was in Clarksville the other day and I met people from LG, foreign company here. I go into these companies and I ask, hey, so how many nationalities are represented at your company? How many languages are spoken? I hear a lot of things, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese. These are companies, large international companies that are investing in our local economies. It's not just, investing in the US's economy. They're investing in our local economies because they are bringing people in, they'll bring in jobs in for one. They are also using our labor, our U.S. labor to build these plants. They are putting money into our economy. They are using our power. These companies bring over employees. They bring over skilled employees to do the jobs that most of the times Americans cannot do. So it's not like they are taking jobs away from Americans, because I can guarantee you, I have been to a lot of plants, a lot of factories, and there are foreign nationals there, but they are not doing all of the jobs. They are doing the very skilled jobs that Americans cannot do, creating a lot of jobs for Americans at these facilities. They are putting money into our local economies, our state economies, our U.S. economies. And let's talk about the fact that Hyundai is South Korean. That's supposed to be one of our allies. They have had to send diplomats over to handle this situation. South Korean nationals. What does that say on a larger scale to these other companies? I live in Middle Tennessee. We have 2 Nissan plants here in Middle Tennessee. What does that say to Nissan? Is North American headquarters is in Nashville, Tennessee. What does that say to them? We are a red state. If they don't feel like their company is safe here, what's going to happen? We've already seen what's happened with American companies and the tariff situations. You look at these big companies like Jack Daniels is made here in Middle Tennessee. They had to lay off a lot of people. And this is a company that has always been a very secure job for their local community. That's not the case anymore. I look every day and I see companies with mass layoffs here in Middle Tennessee, here in Tennessee in general, and it's disheartening. But when we're taking away jobs from these foreign nationals because of their company's investment in our economy, it's not helping our job situation. They are not taking jobs that normal average Americans can do. These are highly specialized jobs. We're not, so I don't know if this is this in relation to the horrible jobs report? I believe our jobs is down, for the first time since COVID, since the pandemic. That's upsetting. And I'm sure some people are like, great, that's 475 jobs that Americans can do. These are not jobs that Americans can do. They are not jobs Americans can do. These foreign nationals coming in as part of their country's investment into our economy is not for average Americans. So we have essentially pissed off a world superpower who was allegedly one of our allies. We are already laughable on an international stage. Other countries laugh at us, and that's because of Donald Trump. How does this look now for people to say, oh my gosh, this is their ally, that we're supposed to be working together, and we are detaining, when I say we, of course, I mean the United States government. We are all responsible indirectly with what is happening with these ICE raids. We may not support them, but this is our country this is us doing this to people. So what's going to happen in Georgia? There's going to be less money going into the economy. So when people talk about illegal immigrants, no person is illegal, first of all. And so when we talk about the impact immigrants have in a community, it's going to be instrumental for other companies, especially South Korean companies, pull out of U.S. investments and go to a country that is friendlier, literally friendlier, like maybe Canada and things like that. But this is going to hurt your local community too. I urge everybody to just go search your community, your state, and see who the largest employers are in your state. What companies have put the largest investments in your state? And I think you would be surprised. Like when I look and see what companies have moved production or even American headquarters to Tennessee, there's a lot of companies. There are a lot of companies. And if they don't feel safe in our country, and again, these are not onesies and twosies immigrants. These are countries sending their literally best and brightest because of their multi-billion-dollar companies coming here. It's a rant at this point. I'm just talking, but it's wild to me that people are okay with this. People are applauding. Again, these 475 Korean nationalists are not taking jobs from Americans. We can't even do those jobs at the end of the day. It's wild, but I highly suggest everybody, I highly recommend everybody a quick Google search. Type your city largest employers, your state largest employers, your state largest investment companies. I urge you to do that to see that it's not all American companies. There are foreign companies that are investing in our state and local economies.
You have seen it all and you have heard it all. Thank you so much for watching this compilation. I truly appreciate each one of you. If you found this video powerful, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to hear from you on the Trump's economic disaster and what it means for the American people. Until next time, thank you for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.